No one is free from prejudice. Sean Eckert is burdened by this. With his collage, the German artist wants to break up rehearsed ways of seeing and show what you can see if you don't just look. In conversation, the interviewees confided in him their experiences, fears, moments of happiness, and concerns. He processes these. Through deconstruction and reconstruction, he mirrors the personality of the portrayed. The delicate letters make visible the often hidden wounds caused by prejudices suffered. Our focus changes as we look at these photographs. Like a visual muscle switching from distance to close-up vision, recognition takes time. The view of the person sharpens. The new view opens up unexpected insights. Insights that reveal the inner beauty of the person portrayed. Sean succeeds in leading us away from just looking. Condensed, he presents personal elements in a new way, unusually composed, breaking the frame. A recognition of people becomes possible, prejudices dissolve. Karl Popper's paradox of tolerance fascinates Kobe Christoph. The American artist with German roots considers Popper's thoughts groundbreaking, especially in view of the rise of nationalism and extreme right-wing groups around the world. He stages Popper's idea as a visual fairy tale. It is meant to warn viewers, resist the beginnings. Kobe draws his group of figures in pencil, outlines this drawing in felt-tip pen. Finally, it is digitally colored and composed. The faceless figures stand for archetypes. Blue for representatives of boundless tolerance, yellow for the oppressed, red for intolerant radicals and extremists. Kobe's work dynamically and dramatically reinforces Karl Popper's statement. If you don't oppose the intolerant radicals from the very beginning, there are consequences. Fundamental and human rights are negated. Our liberal democratic order disintegrates. The intolerant take over power. An issue that is not only relevant for the USA and Germany, Kobe Christoph is sure.
Men do not play with dolls.
Women have to manage the household.
Men do not love men.
Women do not love women.
Men always have to be strong.
Women have to give birth to a child.
Men are better leaders.
Women are bad at soccer.
Men fight wars.
Women are weak and too emotional.
What actually makes a man or a woman? Why is there so much sexual bullying? Emily Grun spoke with many people of different ages, genders, and cultural backgrounds about their experiences of sexism. After the conversation, Emily asked the people in the picture to look into the camera for a few seconds. While doing so, they were asked to think about what happened to them. We look into faces that in turn look directly at us. But the people in the picture do not see the viewer. They have experiences in front of their eyes that they had to endure. The artist from Saxony succeeds in capturing intense, intimate eye gazes with her portrait video. They convey to us who these people are and how they feel. The Gossheimer handwritten letters tell of the experiences of those portrayed. They slide into the picture, further and further in, until they enclose the person's head, just like when it happened. At the same time, female and male stereotypes pelt us from the audio track above, evenly like raindrops. They come from other people interviewed, and they vividly show that the phenomenon of sexism has many faces. Emily knows that we can only change the situation if we talk openly about it. Who doesn't yearn for love and acceptance? Who doesn't long for orientation in these complexly difficult times? Natalie Boltman's Pittura Oscura is therefore entitled Deep Yearning. The believing artist deconstructs the religious and transfers it to all people in a thought experiment. The natural chord construct shows the winding path of her and our search for fulfillment. She places it is in the photograph of the vaulted ceiling of a Baroque pilgrimage church. The space widens, is bright and open. Our path of yearning approaches the space of hope, finally ending in it. Natalie shows how our deep yearning could find its correspondence. If in our religions, instead of the many commands and prohibitions, instead of hierarchies and their negative excesses, all people had a personal relationship with God, a relationship that would be characterized by the spirit of supporting and serving each other, and if those who do not believe in God also followed these principles, then we would deal with each other and solve our problems in a completely different way. As families, as communities, as countries, we would feel accepted and loved. Visual artist and musician Fink Stangelmeyer suffers interpersonal consequences through Corona. His surreal, comic-like figures speak for themselves. Exaggeratedly large, prominent, and expressive is the visible suffering man. Surrounded by evil-looking eyes, disparagingly pulled-down corners of the mouth, anger-distorted grimaces, a fist raised in a threatening gesture, hands accusing. Hostility captured on a cardboard. The Augsburg artist confronts people on a crowded train with this. The oversized painting disturbs. The life-size man in the painting, coughing and spreading viruses, seems like a provocation in the dense crowd. But the faces of the passengers hidden behind masks remain uninvolved, averted. No one asks questions, seeks contact. Everyone focuses only on oneself. Interaction has died. A painting that also questions our behavior. What do you teach children to help them master their lives? Stella Wingeter is convinced that something has to change when it comes to education. We see Stella writing in front of a picture divided into two parts. On the left, clearly faded, the symbolized fear of pedagogy in brown. Dark, forward trees reflect the gloomy perception of children. In addition, text from The Very Sad Story with the lighter, a German fairy tale. It reminds in an almost cynical way of the former educational slogan, "Who does not want to hear must feel." Pink dominates the right half, symbol of an education that focuses only on the beautiful and the good. The American fairy tale Bambi by Walt Disney serves as an example. Children's identification figures are heroes combined with role cliches and stereotypes. With thick red paint, Stella covers these pedagogies with the sentence, "Change is coming." She is given confidence by the encouraging quotes from the Us Children's author Theodore So's Geisel, which hang on the still white wall. They want to be carried on lovingly and foresightedly, to give children courage for life and to enable them to cope with the multiple challenges. Quarrels often arise because we focus on what separates us. But what could unite us all? Is there a common ground that is emotionally comprehensible for all people, atavistic even? Nuala Kennedy found it in food. a basic need all over the world, at all times. For her project, she asked 17 people of different ethnicities about their comfort food. The artist from the States received a variety of answers. Some favorite dishes were very culture-specific, others more international. However, they all had one thing in common. They made people happy and reminded them of something meaningful. Nuala asked 3 people to take a seat at the set table. They were talking. Nuala, soon unnoticed, photographed the scenery. Then she drew the 3's favorite dishes on paper, cut them out, and placed them on the empty plates. She added to it the autobiographical statements of her protagonists. Finally, she inserted the image of the open sky as a ceiling, sign that it does not end here, call to think about what else connects us humans. One seat remained free, the plate empty. Do I sit down with them? The women's question is unsolved. The world is in danger of collapsing. Franconian artist Lara Heldman takes up this context in her work, Progress Through Cohesion. Black and white in the background are so-called suffragettes. At the beginning of the 20th century, they fought in the streets for universal women's suffrage. They stuck together and prevailed. Lara next interviewed and photographed everyday Hurrians. We see them outlined in color and framed with buzzwords and symbols of empowerment. Their feedback, domestic violence, abuse, disadvantage, and more are relevant then and now. Overlaid with glitter and confetti, almost provocatively kitschy, Lara celebrates what might be possible. But in the installation, a lot of confetti meets hard rock. Centuries of male domination have led the world to this point, into wars and crises. It is now apparent that our planet is existentially endangered. Only through the cohesion of women and their equal participation worldwide, the catastrophe threatening us can be averted. History, war, and art have the greatest influence on the fate of people. Finley Jacobson is sure of that. He therefore devotes himself to remembering and forgetting. His work, Mercedes in War and Peace, serves as an example. Finley erects an altar. He carves a Mercedes star into a well cover. He frames this with painted teeth and cartridges. They symbolize human sacrifice and weapons violence. He found the central altarpiece hidden in a meadow. Even unflattering historical facts like to be left hidden. Painted newspaper pages from the altar panels, opening upward to a cross. On these simplistic symbolic drawings, they allude to brutal wars of conquest, but also to the soft side of people who have to go to war as soldiers or, as the snakes eating themselves show, to a successive self-destruction. The LA artist and political scientist shows how history is documented and guilt assigned. The producers of Nazi ideology were tried and convicted at Nuremberg. Producers of war equipment or who kept forced laborers and profited from the Nazi regime got off relatively scot-free. These are often companies that continue to be very successful today. Finley calls us to be aware of such contexts of collaboration and its effects, also today. No generation has taken as many photos of itself as ours, says Selina Pfeil. Almost all of them show smiles, but what is going on behind the facade? More and more young people around the world are suffering from mental illness. Suicide rates are also on the rise. The title of her work, Your Psyche No Taboo, is her call. Over the seemingly cheerful laughter, the artist from Plauen puts her black-colored hands, presses them on paper, pulls them away, lets them reach into the void. Black hands everywhere. Dark, silent, symbol of a cry for help that cannot articulate itself. Her counter-design lies in the integrated colorfulness. Red refers to the life energy that is actually inherent in us. Green stands for hope and that change can grow. Sky blue for regained lightness. When we are interested in each other, trust each other, talk about our problems with all openness, helping and allowing help becomes possible. Faces, hands, and colors reveal ambivalences, until the view opens for Selena's utopia, in which the taboo is broken and redemption is possible. How to Facilitate Connection Between People Through Art is the title of Kane Hoffman's complex artwork. He regrets that the magic of connecting he felt as a child has been lost. This is why he wanted to base his project on how to encourage connection and build community. He decided to tape sheets to the wall for his fellow workshop participants to draw on. He himself drew as poorly as he could to show that it is about the experience itself, not the outcome. In this way, the artist from Ann Arbor hoped that everyone would grow closer and closer through creative interaction. Kane's individual layers are successful social experiments. The culmination of his processual work is this humanoid corpus. Each part of it is unique, but contributes equally to the value and cohesion of the whole, just like in real life. An art project that shows how powerful German and American artists can be when they come together, when they are exposed to each other, learn from each other, and grow together. Collaborative art projects pave the way to a safer and better world, Kane is convinced. Lonely in the Crowd is the title of this image by Priscilla Gross. 3 black and white photographs merged together, forming the center of the fourth photo as a picture within a picture. The German photographer's composition explores the concept of loneliness. A stray, trapped butterfly at an attic window. A lonely cross, only visible as if through fog. A construction trailer parked in the middle of the forest, suspended, left behind. Priscilla digitally unites these 3 into a new reality. The butterfly suddenly finds itself in the wagon, whose transparent-looking backside wraps itself protectively around it. The cross seems to be perpendicular to the window cross, pointing a way out. While boundaries blur in other places, the signpost in front gains contour and sharpness. A way out of loneliness does not seem impossible. Priscilla Gross installs her photograph on a house wall. Young people running past pay no attention to the multi-layered expressions of loneliness. These people are only dimly visible, not really present. A contrast that clearly shows you can feel abandoned even in a crowd, whether physically or online.
One smell that feels like home might sound a bit silly, but my grandma's apartment in Germany has this musty old cigarette smell. Like, it's not really bad or anything. I'm not usually one to like that smell. But my grandma's apartment
being in Germany has reminded me a lot of my last trip here. Which I would say is probably one of the happiest months of my life. Last time I was here, I stayed with a German family in a really small town, and we didn't see as many like great things as we have on this trip, but experiencing life in like another perspective was super interesting.
An dem ich eigentlich die meiste Zeit meiner Kindheit verbracht habe. Ich hatte eine große Familie in der Nachbarschaft, das waren Mormonen mit 6 Kindern, mit denen habe ich immer sehr viel gespielt. Und mit den Brüdern bin ich immer draußen gewesen, wir waren am Spielplatz und wir sind Schlitten gefahren, auch direkt am Spielplatz am Schlittenberg. Und ja.
I listened to some worship music. So a loss of experience. I remember both my grandmas died within like a year of each other.
Yeah, then I cried.
Which was pretty sad.
So I was
kind of
really
strange,
happy
honestly.
About that.
But I think that was not the first time that I'd like experienced loss, but like kind of like the first time that someone that's so, I don't know, like important in your life almost, like passes
and
like,
I think if I could
almost,
do
like,
anything in the world, I would create justice for everyone, not only for men and women, also for rich people, poor people, from people from also rich countries, for example. And
so the question
for
is,
me, the best
what is one
world
thing
would
you
be
wish
when
to
everybody
change
has
in
the
the
same
world?
chances.
And I guess if I had to pick one thing, it would be like, I wish people could be like as free as they wish they could be, and just like allow themselves to be that way, because I sort of see like people get so close to that but sort of don't like cross over the line, and it's like it sort of is like a decision, and something that like anyone can do. It just like I guess we all like struggle to be
I
this
feel my
way, but I
dream
think like
was
life
kind
would
of
just
to
be
teach people
like as fun as it could be.
the kind of unrealistic aspect I feel like is I want them to be
I think
restricted,
it just be more full.
to be a teacher in a school
So
where people kind of like don't have to go, but like are willing, want to go,
yes, that's
and where they do not only learn about one subject and they really can ask anything, and also like you be unrestricted in supporting someone, like either in a financial or any other like emotional way. Also, I want kind of like
Ja, meine Frage
people
war,
to live like
tell
without
me
any
about your favorite toy
borders,
as child.
especially these kind of
Also,
borders which
ich soll ein
seem like
bisschen
so
was
easy,
erzählen
like
über mein
solvable,
Lieblingsspielzeug als
traveling
Kind.
to another
Das
country
ist
or
natürlich eine schwere Frage,
just
aber wenn
getting
ich
to
mich so
the possibility to
zurückerinnere,
see
dann
like
weiß
all
ich,
these
dass ich
beautiful
immer einen
places,
Affen hatte. Das war ein
and hear all the
Stofftier
stories of
natürlich,
people who
das
experienced the worst and the
lange
best.
Beine und lange Arme hatte und
I wish
diese
I had the
Affenschnauze,
like the
Nase.
opportunity to bring that
Und
kind
ich habe
of
es
like
heiß und
to
innig geliebt und habe ihn
people.
überall mit
And
hingenommen und habe ihm alles gezeigt. Und
I also had
mein Affe hieß Cheetah.
the courage to kind of
Und,
just
Ja,
pursue
schließlich
this kind of
war das so schlimm,
without
dass die
looking out for
Nase
myself
irgendwann
and
kaputt
only caring
gegangen
about that.
ist und das
I think that
Stroh
would,
ist
like,
quasi schon
truly
aus der Nase
give me
herausgewachsen.
happiness.
Da war so diese Schnauze da war mit Stroh gefüllt. Und ja, eines Tages war Cheetah weg und da war ich natürlich todtraurig und musste das irgendwie, ich weiß auch nicht mehr, wie ich das verkraftet habe, aber die ganze Zeit zuvor habe ich einfach ihn so als Freund gehabt, so wie andere vielleicht ihren Hund oder wie eine Puppe als Freund oder Freundin haben, und ich habe ihn immer mitgenommen.
Okay, tell me about the last time you laughed so hard your stomach hurt. I was thinking about it, and it probably was when I was in the Mensa with 2 of my friends, and we looked through snaps from Snapchat from another friend, and he was ill and at home, and we kind of started making fun of him in a Russian accent. I don't know why, but this Russian accent thing continued, and then we made fun of dialects and stuff, and talked about the stupidest things in these crazy accents, and that's when I was laughing so hard, my stomach hurt.
I think I'm a very easy guy, and I don't have any problems with this.
Is it possible to do something about the hatred in the world, preventively, so that people don't start hating in the first place? These are the questions that drive Madeleine Shepherd. She sees a solution in the concept of childlike curiosity. That's why she dedicated her video to it. During the creation process, she set out on the path of curiosity herself. She asked people about unknown details of their biography. She also leads the viewers on this path. The secrets in her booklet encourage us to look behind the superficial. The answers of the interviewees, some of which are played synchronously, awaken the desire to wait to hear the whole story. Maddie's video called Curiosity provokes an attitude that leads to a better understanding of people and situations. Where understanding grows, relationships grow. In constructive relationships, hate no longer has a place. The work by Winfried Muthesius, master artist of this project, is titled Together. In the gateway, we see his 4 square meter skull painting, painted with black oil paint in bold, energetically applied brushstrokes. Together, he and his young colleagues carry death into the midst of life. The skull image is emblematic of everything that threatens our lives: wars, famine, natural disasters. They block the way to life. On the left, the sign, no entry. But in the setting, luminous lanterns can catch the eye. There is light, hope then. Where could it come from? Muthesius photographs dancing young people without flash and tools, in order to catch just the hint of their movement. Spherically, we recognize them to the right and left or directly in front of the painting as shadows. The pedestrian sign on the right side gives the hint. Attention, people. Finally, Winfried Muthesius paints over his photograph in white in moving strokes. In the Western world, white stands for purity, for goodness. In Asia, it also stands for sadness. Thus, he adds to the inner tension found in the arrangement and the photograph an overlying one that provokes the all-important question: how can we successfully oppose everything that threatens life? We find the answer in his title, Together.